Section 33 of Uncle Josh's Punkin Center Stories by Cal Stewart. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Philip Martin. Reminiscence of My Railroad Days. Dedicated to Engineer John Houlihan, Pittsburgh and Lake Erie Railroad, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Well, John, I read your poetry and laughed till I nearly cried, seeing how you became an engineer and got on the right-hand side. It made me think of the days gone by when I was one of you fellers, too, what used to run an old machine and go tootin' the country through. But the engine that I had then, John, was far from a Nancy Hanks. She was old and worn and loggy and just chuck full of pranks. And she was wonderfully got up, John, full of bolts and valves and knobs, and the boiler wouldn't hold water, gosh, it wouldn't hold cobs. But I was younger then, John, and I didn't care a cuss, so I'd pull the throttle open and just let her wheeze and fuss. The road that I was a-running on was out in the woolly west, 2 streaks of rust, and the right-of-way was putting it at its best. So we sort of plugged along, John, and didn't put on any frills, never thought of doing anything but doubling all the hills. I tell you those were rocky times, and we hadn't no air brake, and 15 miles an hour, John, was dern good time to make. And there was as good a lot of boys as you could meet with anywhere, rough and ready, open up, and always on the square. And I'd like to see them all again and grasp each honest hand. But some of them, like me, have quit. Some have gone to another land. I have changed somewhat since then, John, just a little more steady growed. But I often think of my railroad days as the happiest ones I've knowed. And, John, I often watch the train as they go whizzing by. As I think of Bill or Jim or Jack, there's a tear comes in my eye. Perhaps you'd like to know, John, just why I quit the rail, and as some feller one time said, thereby hangs a tale. I was going along one night, John, at a pretty lively rate, the old machine a-doing her best, and me 40 minutes late, when all at once there came a crash. I felt the old track yield, and fireman, machine, and I went into a farmer's field. There's little more to say, John. They laid me up for repairs, but my fireman, poor fella, hadn't time to say his prayers. So now you have my story, John. Still, you don't know how it feels to know you've got to plug around on a couple of flat wheels. But it doesn't bother me, John. Gosh, not for a minute. I'm as happy as the day is long and feel just strictly in it. But sometimes I like to meet the boys and talk them days all over, and I feel as gay and chipper as a calf in a field of clover. But the happiest days I've known, John, the ones that to me seem best, was when I run a old machine way out in the woolly west. Glory, getting killed and not getting paid for it. Punkin Center Philosophy. End of Reminiscence of My Railroad Days.